We got to talk about the former number one team in the AFC, being the Kansas City Chiefs, who are now at 6-2 after losing 24-9 in Denver against the Broncos. This is the first time that the Broncos have defeated the Chiefs in 16 games. It's been 8 seasons. Patrick Mahomes had never lost on the road in the AFC West in his career. He had lost at home to a divisional opponent, but never lost on the road until yesterday, as the Broncos finally break the streak and the Broncos beat the Chiefs 24-9. Kevin, I know that Mahomes had the flu in this game, but it wasn't a Michael Jordan flu game. And so what did you think of this outcome?
Man, I knew once they started listening to all the stats at the beginning of the game, it was going to be shaky. But I'll tell you what, when I was going through our picks and I saw that Toddy took the Broncos, I was like, he's on to something. Toddy must know something. There's no way in hell. Like Shaun mentioned, 16-0, 8 seasons of getting your ass whooped twice a year. Patrick Mahomes never lost a road game in the AFC West, 12-0 coming in against the Broncos. And for him to go 24 of 38 with 241 yards and 2 picks, it looked bad. And I've been saying all year how this Chiefs offense runs through Travis Kelce. If you can find a way to take Travis Kelce away, this team is going to look subpar. We saw in the first game when they did not have him in uniform, they lost to the Lions, who's arguably one of the best teams in the NFC. I think the biggest takeaway from this season and last, when you look at the Chiefs, it isn't their people that they lost, because they have the same team besides Juju Smith-Schuster and Mecole Hardman for 4 or 5 games, and he came back. The person that's missing is Eric Bieniemy. He was solely reasonable for this offense. You can say Andy Reid called the plays. You can say he was just, Andy's henchman. But last year, the Chiefs were number 1 in points per game, number 1 in yards per game, and number 1 in yards passing per game. This year, they ranked 12, 19, and 3. This offense has been struggling. It's really been Travis Kelce-centric. We saw a lot of young guys. We saw 5. You can't have 5 turnovers in any game, like Toddy mentioned with the Niners. You turn the ball over 5 times, you're going to lose the game. Mecole Hardman muffined the punt. Sky Moore drops the pass right off his shoulder pads. So the Chiefs just aren't giving Mahomes enough. This offensive line, we've been talking about it since the Super Bowl against the Bucs, has been subpar. You can't have all those orange jerseys in front of his face and expect him to come out and make these plays. We see it night in, night out. Patrick Mahomes make those plays, but it's hard to make those plays every game. So the Chiefs have a lot of things to worry about, and the Broncos haven't been playing that bad, man. It's weird to see Russ be this Super Bowl winner, Super Bowl team leading his team to the Super Bowl, and now seeing him essentially be a game manager, completing 12 passes. Like, it was all just nickel and dime. They were just whatever they can do to not have Patrick Mahomes score was the way they wanted to win this game. We saw Jerry Jeudy finally score a touchdown in 24 games. Cortland Sutton is continuing to have a good season, but this Broncos team, I don't know if this is a pan in the dust, if this is time for them to turn it around, but the way the AFC West looks, they can mess around and get a wild card.
Toddy, what did you think about this game? Was it just because Patrick Mahomes had the flu? Is there more to this?
I think it was kind of the humiliation on Thursday Night Football and how there was like a gap between the game that they played. It was like one game and then they were playing the Broncos again. Turnover battle. Patrick Mahomes had 2 turnovers. I feel like the elements in this game were definitely elementing. And if you guys saw what the field looked like before, like in the morning time at Mile High, before like kickoff happened, it was covered in snow. They had to go over the field like 4 or 5 times I was hearing. It was, I feel like, and just the altitude in Denver, it's always weird to play in Denver. Divisional opponent, Sean Payton trying to kind of prove himself, not get swept by, the Chiefs. And we get it. Patrick Mahomes was pretty much undefeated against the Broncos his whole career until yesterday. So I think that, everyone, I feel like all good teams lose weird games at some point in time during the season. Like last year, we saw, the Chiefs lost to, who was it, the Colts. The Eagles lost to, who was it, the Commanders. Niners lost to the Bears. So there's always these weird games that really good teams, they end up dropping throughout the season. So I'm not really going to take too much from it. It's not something to panic over. I feel like Patrick Mahomes is health, his illness probably did play a factor into it. But nevertheless, he did throw for like 245 yards still. But yeah, I mean, I'm not really going to dive too much. Is Russ still cooking? Is he back? He threw 3 touchdowns. He was 12 for 14 though, for like 114 yards. So I'm not sure how much cooking he actually did, but saw Jerry Jeudy sighting in this game. A lot of people, including Steve Smith, have had some opinions about Jerry Jeudy and if teams should trade for him or how good of a receiver he actually is. Usually Alabama receivers usually pan out. So for him to kind of get that slow start, maybe it's just him and Russell Wilson really don't have that connection, and he just might need a fresh start. But I'm not really going to dive too much into it. I still think the Chiefs are the best team in the. Actually, no, one of the best teams in the AFC, I would say, because I think the Ravens are the best team in the AFC from my perspective. But it's Patrick Mahomes. I'm not really going to think too much of it. If the Broncos played the Chiefs like 5 more times, what did the Chiefs win? Like 4 out of those 5 times, I think.
Probably all 5.
Yeah, I guarantee you they'll be favored in all 5 of those games for sure. So, yeah, not going to dive too much into it. I was kind of shocked that the Chiefs didn't score a touchdown. That was probably the most shocking thing of this whole spiel, that they couldn't score a touchdown. But not too worried about the Chiefs. They'll be in the playoffs, probably be the number 1 seed.
I completely agree. And before we move off of this game, I just wanted to highlight a couple of YouTube comments real quickly. Kevin, your friend Manny says Russ is sizzling. Then he says Russ not cooking, he just prepping. And so I wanted to ask Kevin a very important question before we move on from this game. Meal prep rest, yeah, exactly. But what I wanted to ask is, did the Chiefs lose because Taylor Swift wasn't there, Kevin?
Oh, dude, man. I'm so tired of that narrative. I'm so tired of that narrative because I know when
man, go ahead.
You can't be wrong. You look at the stats when she's there. Travis Kelce's balling out. So I mean, the numbers don't lie. And it's called stats over politics. So I'd be a fool to come on here and say, her being there doesn't help them. Have some extra motivation to see up there the Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes connection, and then look up there and see your girlfriend and wife have their own handshake. This the momentum, and a lot of people go to the games to see her, and then you see the narrative is Travis Kelce making Taylor Swift more famous or vice versa. But I'm really tired of this narrative because if it was such a big deal, the Eagles had the first Kelce Swift duo. But that's neither here nor there.
And I think Taylor Swift, before all of this, was actually a Philadelphia
She's
Eagles
from Philly. Fan. I'm sure she's probably still is an Eagles fan, but she has to put on a front. I get it.
Well, I mean, she picked the wrong Kelce. Maybe she chose Kansas City because the other Kelce brother was taken. But had to ask you the very important question, Kevin, because you took the words right out of my mouth, where they just kept showing that graphic where like Adam Schefter's tweeting about it. Every game, no matter what network it's on, they're showing the graphic. Oh, here's Travis Kelce's stats when she's here. Here's his stats when they're not. I mean, stats over politics. It says it all right there. Anyways, now